guys, I'm Jessica Mulder, and this is The Hard Way Pod, the podcast about learning from your mistakes. Today I've got Atlas Novack, comedian and podcaster. He's got a podcast that we record here at Third Wheel, and it's called Bad Reading. How you doing?
I'm good. You? I didn't get to hear the theme song. It's going to be edited in beforehand.
Yeah, it's edited in.
Boo.
Is that normally how they do it here? Like you can hear it?
They just play the theme song.
Oh, see, I've never done that because I'm a control freak, so I have to do it myself. So
okay.
yeah. So
I thought it was just like because I'm a professional. God damn it.
Yeah, well, that too. I'm a super professional. Yeah. So how you doing? Did you make any mistakes today that you can think of?
Let's see. Today I made the mistake of not calling out of work because my boss had everybody come in an hour earlier.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Was that 6:45 when you said you were there?
Yeah.
That's gross, dude.
I know, right?
How far away from your house do you work?
So I live in East Hollywood and I work in Beverly Hills. So it's not so much that it's far, it's just there's no freeways.
You know, Beverly Hills, that's where my gynecologist is.
Yeah.
And it's a nightmare. Last time I went to get my IUD removed, because that thing, my friend coined the term demon paperclip, and I think that's accurate.
It's like a T shape usually.
Yeah,
right?
it's like a T-shaped
copper.
thing. Yeah, it's horrible. I had a hormonal one, but I ended up stuck in traffic for an hour and a half. Red minutes, guys. Red minutes.
Yeah.
Which is like the, because I always say green, orange, or red minutes, depending. And that shit was bonkers. So
people
I need to
already think LA people are insane because of that we measure distance with time.
Yeah.
But you're measuring it in colors.
Yeah, well, because Google Colors, it tells you if it's like, I swear the red gets darker sometimes. I'm like, this is burgundy minutes. Yeah. So yeah, you told me a little bit earlier about like your story. And so I kind of like thinking of it. I don't necessarily have exactly a story to match it. So I want you to go first, if that's okay, since you've heard the podcast.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can tell me yours, and then I'm sure. I mean, I have things I want to say, but it's gonna come out of fucking nowhere if I say it first.
Yeah, no, it's
So, Atlas, you've learned some things the hard way, which is why you're here, and I want to know one of those things, or maybe even two.
It's not just I learned things the hard way. It's I pestered you until you let me come in here.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. He made me, guys. He made me. No,
no,
it's okay.
Like you. Finding out that you like actually got yours off the ground was what gave me the kick in the pants needed to start Bad Reading. So I'm here because of you in every sense of the word.
That's
Hooray!
Awesome.
So my story starts in like early 2018.
Oh, so this is recent.
Yeah, this is the last few years.
All right.
So early 2018, I have been out of college for less than a year.
That's probably like when I met you, huh? At Karma Lounge area?
I think so.
Yeah.
When was Karma Lounge like a thing for us? Was that
I think it was 2018.
2018?
Yeah.
Might have been before that.
Maybe before that, yeah.
Like, or as I was getting out of college or something like that. But 2018, I was like doing the dating apps, and I met this girl on there who we're not supposed to use real names, right?
I mean, it's up to you. You can. I use like a real first name, but if it's like a couple people in the story, then I'll change one of them like last time, because I was like, this could get danger zone.
I'm not going to use her name because I guess I shouldn't.
Okay.
So I'm going to use the fake name that I use for everybody regardless of gender.
All right.
Gary.
So. Oh my God. All right.
Gary is the ultimate like.
Garina.
Or just Gary. Like the name Gary is dying. No one's naming their children Gary anymore. So
that's true. Yeah, I never see a baby Gary anymore.
I'm keeping it alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I matched with Gary on Tinder, and
this is so much better of a story now that it's Gary.
You know what the best
Especially
part is?
because I know where it's going. Generally, yeah.
And we were dating for a little bit, and Gary was a can't fucking keep a straight face. She was a firefighter, and
that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
That's hot, dude. No pun intended.
Yeah, but like it was mostly just I'd stay over at her place every once in a while, and then after like 3 months, there was one time where she came over and slept at my place, which is my mom's place. I was still living at home at the time. And my mom met Gary and went, there's something off about her.
Ooh, that's never good coming from the mom. Yeah.
Maybe this is what ends up being the lesson, which is like sometimes your parents are right about stuff.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Because it gets worse.
I love it when it gets worse.
Yeah, so after, like...
Did she have dinner with you guys or something, or did she just met her briefly and she was like, whoa,
it was like they're crossing paths as we're going in and my mom's leaving. Like, it's
oh, wow.
a very small
So she, like,
sample
sensed
size.
it with, like, energy.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So I usually don't listen to my mom when it comes to romantic advice because my mom has been married 3 times.
Oh, same. High five. Yeah, they're both on their third. I call it the settlement marriage. No offense, guys.
The third time,
that's when you're settling.
The third time was with my dad, and she divorced him too. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're from the third marriage.
Yeah. Well, okay. The first time she was like 18, and it lasted less than a year.
Oh wow.
Second time was he ended up being gay. He has the best last name ever, but I won't say it on mic because I just to keep his secrecy. And then the third time was my dad in like the 80s, and then they divorced when I was 10. So her advice usually comes from like, okay, any little imperfection, I don't feel like it, I'm over it.
Yeah.
The settlement or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just kind of brushed it off, and then Gary said that she was moving to Washington State to help with the firefighting up. I'm realizing in hindsight that this is stupid.
Help. The firefighting in Washington State is out of control.
You know where it's like more humid and there's like more rain and stuff. They need help with the firefighting up there. But yeah, so
Gary sounds full of shit, dude.
In hindsight, yes.
Yeah.
And I helped her pack up her apartment, which I learned during that time that her mom was helping her pay for the apartment.
Oh, wow. That's always like, I lose respect for you if your parents pay for you a little bit more when you're a grown-ass adult.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at the time I lived in my mom's attic, so.
But that's a little different when you're living at home than your parent, like, paying for you to live out of home.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
Because now you're just wasting money and you should get a job. It's really what it is. Yeah.
But also, like, you don't live somewhere if the Christmas decorations are, like, 10 feet from where you sleep, you know?
What do you mean?
I just felt like I was taking up space in my mom's
house.
Yeah, okay. That's it.
Oh, because you were in the attic. That's right. I was like, wait, I thought maybe your mom was one of those people that leaves them up all year, which I'm learning there's a lot of those.
Nah, just like the Christmas decorations in the box. You have the little thing of tinsel poking out.
Yeah.
Just like, this is where I am. This is my domicile.
Mothball Central. Yeah.
So, and I met her mom, and her mom seemed angry with something.
Oh.
When they were packing up. Like, she's just like, okay, let's just get this over with. I'm like, maybe she's having a bad day. I tried to, like, be polite. I'm like, I'm Atlas. I'm the boyfriend, I guess. And she was giving me the cold shoulder the whole time. And
Gary was.
Gary's mom.
Oh, okay.
So we kept in touch for about 6 months, and then Gary came back to LA and was telling me that she had like been cut off by her mom and that she needed to stay with me for a while.
Were you still living with your mom?
Yes.
And your mom fucking hates her already.
Yeah. So I
love that I turned like finds her odd to hate because that's parent stuff.
Do you remember that episode of Breaking Bad where Walt, Skyler, and Jesse have dinner together? And it's one of the most, like, tense scenes in the entire show.
Yeah.
So think that for, like, 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, so she's there for 2 weeks.
She's there for 2 weeks. And then I get a message on Facebook from some random dude. And I can't remember the exact words, but I'm just going to give you the, like, gist of it, which is, hey, man, are you dating this girl?
Okay. It's never good.
And I go, yes, I am. And he goes, I have some bad news for you.
Ooh.
I, too, am dating that girl.
Son of a bitch.
It's like 2 guys wearing the same shirt to work. And you're like, one of us is going to have to change, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would think that, like, both of you would have to change, because what a lying-ass liar.
Well, yeah, so I went back to my mom. I was like, you were right the whole time. There was something I was cheated on. And she's like, I fucking called that shit, you know. Or in the most mom way possible.
Yeah. Your mom, like, punched you. Fucking called it, bro.
No.
Yeah.
She's like, I told you, honey. I told you. Or just whatever.
Yeah.
However she says it. So I go back to Gary with the receipts, right? I have the conversation. He had screenshots for me.
Oh.
Which, like...
Was he, like, trying to stay with her, too, and being like... Or was he just like, hey, I'm getting out, you should get out, too. She's a piece of shit. Okay, good.
Because he found pictures of us on social media, came to me and was like, okay, are you together? I was like, yes. He's like...
She's really bad at cheating, dude.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, you don't post pictures. Like, God.
So, I went back to her with the receipts. I was like, okay, explain what do you do? And she goes like, he's lying. I'm like, he has screenshots. If anybody takes the effort to Photoshop a fake conversation, like...
Yeah, but also, what a piece of shit. You're caught. Just, like, admit it,
Just
dude.
take the L, right?
Yeah, take the L, bro.
And I was like, okay, get the fuck out of my house, right?
Yeah.
So
so she's still living at your house during this.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It is only like 2 weeks that was happening.
But still, like, she's cheating on you and living at your mom's house. Ew.
Yeah.
We hate her. We as the universe hate her.
I said this once, I'll say it again. It gets worse.
Oh, no.
So, kicked her out, and then I thought, okay, being cheated on sucks, and, like, just took a break from dating for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then, a couple months later, she calls me, and I was like, what? You know?
Yeah.
And she tells me that she is pregnant. I get the feeling I'm going to give you an aneurysm or something.
No, I just can't believe this is so terrible for you. I'm sorry, man. I hate this girl.
Me too.
Gary!
Gary's a bitch. Yeah.
Gary's a bitch.
So, yeah, I immediately start panicking, and I'm like, okay, I want a paternity test. Because
she's saying it's your kid.
She's saying it's my kid.
Ugh.
So
and this is only like a couple months go by, so it's very possible.
Yeah, it's very possible. And then I start getting contacted by her lawyer, and
what?
I start panicking more and more because I want to tell my mom.
Why does she have a fucking lawyer for?
I'll explain.
Oh my God. But okay.
I want to tell my mom, and I don't know how to tell her. The only people I tell are my best friend Carly. Shout out to Carly.
Carly?
Yeah.
Not a bitch. All right.
Not a bitch. Follow at Koa of Moval on Instagram. It's her account for her dog. It's very cute.
Okay.
Yeah. I only tell Carly, my sister, and my dad. And that's it. I don't tell my mom.
Because your mom's going to, I told you so all over again.
My mom's not only going to told you so, I think it'll kill her.
Oh.
My dad, like, he and I have always been a little distant from each other, but it means I can tell him big stuff like this, and it's not going to knock him over. He's just like, what are you going to do? So I'm, like, just kind of stewing in this for about 3-4 months. And during this entire time, I'm still, like, doing stand-up, but I'm, like, deteriorating.
Yeah.
Because I can't enjoy myself anymore. I'm, like, a sad sack. I'm just getting up, going to work, coming back, going to sleep. I can't write any material that I like. I'm not dating anybody because I'm a sad sack. And I stop having joy in stuff because of this other shoe that is, like... You ever play Majora's Mask? Legend of Zelda?
No.
Okay, so in that game...
I don't know what any of those words mean.
Okay, in that game, the moon is crashing into the Earth in 3 days. And the entire time, there's a timer on the bottom of the screen, and if you look up, you can see the moon approaching Earth.
That's horrifying.
That's what it feels like the entire time.
As you're waiting for this paternity test.
Or just what to do next from the lawyer. And it got to the point where, like... When my mom asked me what I wanted for my birthday that year, so we're getting into 2019 now, early 2019. I'm just like, a time machine, And she goes, why? I'm like, just don't worry about it. It's fine. And then a week later, I realized, she probably is going to figure it out if I say a time machine. So I tell her, and I told you so's all over me, like you would expect. And then I get a call from the lawyer, and he said that she is giving the child up for adoption, which also means that I don't need to do a paternity test.
Why?
Because why would you do a paternity test if it's being given up for adoption?
Oh, yeah.
That's it. So I, sign away my rights for parentage, meaning I can't ever try it, which, fine. It's okay. And then that was it. But
wouldn't you still have wanted to know?
I'm vaguely curious, but I get the feeling in 15 years there's going to be a kid somewhere.
Wait, so you still don't know?
I still don't know.
Oh, my God!
In 15 years, if a kid somewhere in the U.S. is like, man, I really love Rush, I'm like, oh, that's my kid.
Oh, my God.
That's my kid.
Oh, my God.
You okay?
So you may or may not have got...
I may or may not have a child out in the world somewhere.
I thought that you knew for sure that it wasn't... I mean, I just thought that, like, this girl was crazy and said she was pregnant because she cheated on you and was like, oh, whatever. I didn't know, like, because this was, like, very, like, top-line stuff you gave me earlier.
I'm pretty certain that I'm not, but also with how much she lied to me, birth control could have also been on that list of lies.
Oh, she said she was on birth control? God, Gary. What a
fucking Gary. Yeah.
Bitch.
So, things I've learned from that entire... Like, I lost a year and a half of just trying to adult properly.
Oh,
the only thing I was able to keep was a job, which is good.
God. Good for you. But, dude, did you end up seeing her throughout this time while she was pregnant?
No, it was only through phone calls and texts. Like,
okay, so did you ever see her looking pregnant, like, on social media?
Yes.
Okay, so I was like, there's no way that, like, this wasn't even a lawyer. It was just, like, some psycho friend of hers. Like, you actually had to sign away rights to a child.
Possible child, I guess.
Possible child, but like, so then I'm assuming the other guy had to do the same thing just in case, and probably several other guys depending on who else she took to Bone Town that year.
I guess so. I never went back and asked him again, but
oh my God, I can't believe you didn't ask him. I would have asked. I would have been like, bro, did you hear this? Especially after he reached out to you. Well, you're gonna have to go find him and ask him.
I offered to buy him a beer because, like, it takes a lot of stones to be like, I'm getting cheated on. I'm going to go tell the other guy.
Yeah.
Because normally when you hear about cheating stories, it's the guy goes after the other guy for some reason, not the cheater.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
I never understood that. Like, it's not like they would know, right?
Yeah. No, I once did tell a fucking, a girl that was like cheating with, like, it was the guy that I was dating was like I was like dating this dude and I was like in high school. I was like 17 or something, and I was like in love with him. I loved him. He was awesome. We were best friends, and we like, hooked up and whatever. So it was almost like we never had the like, hey, will you be my girlfriend conversation. It was just like assumed. We had mutual friends. Everybody thought knew we were together, but it wasn't official technically, which I find out because he ended up going on some like rich person trip that the kids in my school always took that I never took because it was middle class regular person and everybody else.
Yes,
was
we're going on a boat tour.
They went like skiing or whatever. Oh no, they went to France. That's right. They went to Paris.
Yes, the first class flight to France.
Yeah, so
you like my rich person voice?
Yeah, that's great. And you're like clenching your teeth to hold all the diamonds in your mouth.
No, to hold my asshole shut.
Yeah. But yeah, he came back all of a sudden with a girlfriend, and I was like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And then like, unfortunately, we didn't stop hooking up because she lived in like a different city. It wasn't super far, but it was like 30 minutes away. So she was
where
in Florida. This was in South Florida.
Like, my dad's from Miami.
So I was in Fort Lauderdale, and she was like Coral Springs.
Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
and so she was like 30 minutes away, and like so she'd maybe come over to his house on the weekends because we're in high school. She's not staying over all the time. And so, like, I hung out with him all the time still, to the point where it was like, at first I was like, no, I'm not hooking up with you. Like, you have a fucking girlfriend now for some goddamn reason. And it was really, like, offensive to me because I was like, wait, I couldn't have been your girlfriend, but now all of a sudden this girl. And I learned later it's because like she was like the type of girl that was like, oh, I cook well and I'm like gonna have a bunch of kids and I'm a homemaker type, and like I'm not that type at all. So I'm the girl you have sex with, I guess, and not the girl that you want to marry. So
I like how the other girl is the one you would want to, like, the archetype of the marryable girl.
Thought, I guess, because she was more like calm and not loud and like didn't party, and she was like she was like a good girl, and I was not a good girl, right? So he ends up like dating her, and then but of course we're hanging out all the time. We end up hooking up, and like to the point where like she'd be texting or calling him, and like, or she'd call my phone, and like she knew we were friends, but she just thought we were best friends, which we were. Kind of, I guess, but he was a shitty friend too.
I like how I'm the messed up one for this.
But she called me and I'd be like, oh yeah, hold on. I'd be like just waking up and fucking hand him the phone. Like that's how like dumb she was. And I just remember one time.
Wait, so did she know that you two were an item and just kind of
she didn't know. She just thought that we were friends and she trusted him wholeheartedly because she was fucking stupid.
Oh my god.
And she just like didn't, she just didn't think anything of it, and then one time I remember I slept over at his house, and because it was like we're in high school and stuff, his mom was like, oh, she has to sleep on the couch in like his studio or whatever because he was a DJ. Kill me. And
we say within a podcast studio.
No, but this was like back in the early 2000s. It was a different type of thing. And yeah, so I was like sleeping in there and whatever. And I remember waking up and going to go in like his room in the morning, and she was in there in the bed with him, and she again doesn't think anything of the fact that I'm fucking sleeping in the other room in his fucking shirt. And she's just like, oh hey, and I immediately panic. Break down and I just leave. I like leave crying, and he's like calling me like, I'm sorry, I didn't know she was coming. Like always apologized to me, always saying he was gonna like break up with her, and be with me, but then like here she is showing up again, that sort of thing. And like I remember like getting real fucked up and drunk to cope with it, and because I had her phone number because she would call me to get in touch with him when his phone was dead and stuff, texting her and telling her, by the way, your boyfriend's fucking cheating on you and it's with me. And then she called me crying and was like, how could you do this to me? How could you say this to me? And we weren't fucking friends, but like she was like still with him and blamed me for telling her. Isn't that fucked up?
That is weird.
What is wrong with these people, Atlas?
Wait, so at the beginning of the story you said that like he went on that France trip and then he came back with her and they were...
Well, she like happened to be like it was like a group thing with like schools, I guess. Like you could sign up for this program called People to People or whatever, and you'd be like.
That sounds like it was made up by George Costanza.
Yeah, but I know, right? You'd be in this like group tour thing, and it was like a bunch of like students in a group tour. So like they met because they were both in the same tour.
Oh, okay.
And then it turned out she lived in Florida too, and so then they were dating when.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, honey, I'm back from France and I brought a random girl.
No. No.
And an I Love New York t-shirt for some reason.
Yeah, no. And she just like doesn't speak any English. Yeah, no, but it was fucked up, dude. Yeah.
The things you learn the hard way, roll credits, from these kinds of stuff, like it's just a suitcase you gotta carry around with you now.
Yeah, well, it's just like because the more times shitty things like this happen to you and people lie and they get away with it and you believe it, and then shittier things, like you said, you lost like a year and a half of your life just being like stressed and like not dating and just being like, what's gonna happen with this? Am I gonna have to take care of a child now at like my young ass age? Like how old were you when this happened?
I want to say like 23, 24.
Yeah. See, like having like all those things having to deal with that is like, and I'm surprised I never heard you talk about it in stand up. Maybe it just wasn't funny to you yet.
I do have like the thing about the guy being like, I have some bad news for you. That is a little bit of a bit.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't gone full like in the pool yet.
I mean, you definitely should because you could have a baby out there, a little baby Atlas.
I need some time.
Yeah.
Because just
bearded baby. Yeah. His name is Gary. I bet she named him Gary
What's also annoying is that she during the 2 weeks that she was there, she took a few trips to 2 weeks that she was at my mom's house. She took a few trips to the hospital for like anxiety attacks.
Quote unquote for the listeners.
I don't know what's real anymore. But those hospital bills were addressed to my mom's house. So every once in a while, to this day, my mom will get a envelope from a collection agency that's addressed to her, but she didn't use her real name. She used like pseudonyms. And then whenever we call them back and be like, okay, nobody by that name lives here. Can you please stop sending it? And they're like, just throw it away if it's not you.
Yeah. Dude, the levels of liar this girl is with her fucking pseudonyms.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, you don't even know. And that's the thing. Like the more, go ahead.
The worst one is so my last name is Novack. Mm-hmm. She did a pseudonym where she just took my last name and then took the first half of my last name, and that's the name. So, Nova Novack.
What?
That's not even clever. That's like...
So she was using your name, too?
Or my last name.
That's still fucked up, though. That's some weird shit.
It is, but like...
And that's like tying it to you. So like, potentially... Well, I guess because like of... No, but like they could think that it's part of your family and still, but I doubt because there's no like social security number or actual things connected.
Exactly.
It's a good thing you never married her. Jesus.
I know, right?
Oh my God.
Could be worse. Could be a lot worse. Yeah.
It's still like, just think about like people lying to you so much and things like that happening. You're like, wow, I can be pretty gullible and way too, what's the word for benefit of the doubty? Like, you know, naive. Yeah. See, and I say that all the time because I am.
The worst part is I didn't get out of this situation by like MacGyvering my way. I didn't like diplomacy my way out of it. I got lucky. She decided to give the kid up for adoption.
Yeah.
And if she didn't, it would have just been up to a coin flip. And then.
Oh man.
You know, or maybe less than a coin flip.
Yeah, well,
I mean, how many people
you would not have want. I don't know what your stances are.
I don't want to have kids. This especially like puts the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
I was already going with, all right, the planet's dead in 20 years. There's several genetic things I don't want to pass on. I like money and sleep too much, and that whole traumatic experience. Yeah, fuck kids. Yeah, that's it.
Fuck kids. Yeah, I don't want kids either. And I'm really lucky actually that I've never accidentally been pregnant. But which made me always think like maybe I can't be because I was really stupid about it. And I've definitely talked about this in stand up. Like, you know, I wasn't always the smartest with like using protection, and I did a lot. And like it luckily when I was growing up, like I ended up getting on the pill pretty early for my age just for like regulating the period or whatever. So
yeah.
I was like protected in that way, but there were plenty of times when I was off of it, and I'm super lucky because like the condom would break or whatever would happen. And so like I've had several scares with like brushes with Plan B, but I've never like where I've like taken the Plan B and that shit's worked every time, knock on wood, just in case I have that sort of situation again.
That's made of plastic. There's wood over here.
Suspend the disbelief, Atlas.
Yeah.
Not. Yeah, but really, like, yeah, I've just always been really lucky, especially like because I've had friends that have had that happen, and you know had to have abortions and whatnot, and I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm super because especially like that shit's expensive too.
Yeah.
Like, forget about it. Imagine not being able to afford an abortion and then having to have an entire human because of it.
I believe that happens all over the country.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if it was you though. Imagine if she didn't give away that baby.
I mean. Like I have a seizure condition, and they say if I have a seizure, don't call an ambulance unless I'm gravely injured or I'm pregnant. So that's a very real possibility. That
I was like, what? Wait, why wouldn't you call an ambulance if you're pregnant?
No, you would call an ambulance.
Oh, okay.
Call an ambulance if I gravely injure myself or I'm pregnant while I'm having the seizure.
I feel like that's risky though. Still, like, who's deciding what's a grave injury?
I mean. It's more like if I crack my head open, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's scary to see a 6 foot, 200-pound man seizing.
Yeah.
So I've heard, but for the most part, it's just nothing you can do about it. Just keep me away from like sharp objects, and it's like having a toddler. Just wait till it's over.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, that's something that I've always like wondered too. Like when I've ever had a friend that had that issue, I was like, always wanted to ask. I always asked each time, like, what do I do if I'm ever around you when this happens? Because you always like hear of these like little like myths of what you're supposed to do. They're like, oh, stick something in their mouth.
You don't need to do that. No one's gonna swallow their tongue.
Yeah, don't stick your finger in their mouth. That's for sure, because you'll bite your fucking finger off.
Like this, mine's a mild version. I only get them during sleep.
That's so scary, and you don't remember it either.
Why would I? I'm sleeping.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't remember the seizure because,
how I know it's happened is if I wake up, I'm sore everywhere because your muscles seize up.
Yeah.
So it's like it felt like I've just walked up 30 flights of stairs.
Yeah. No, I had a seizure one time, and I won't tell the story because I've already told it on the podcast. But like
I know. I listen.
Yeah, exactly. But like that happened. I remember it was physically like it hurts. Like it's like muscular pain for days.
It's that and a headache because your brain's like.
Oh my God, that's so fucking scary.
Flying around in there, yeah.
Well, dang.
Nothing like a 6-year-long battle for your driver's license after you get your first one.
So, and what is it? So 2018, 2028, 2038, 2036. Don't make me do math. 18 years from now, there might be a kid finding you.
That would be 2036.
I got it.
Got it.
Yeah. There might be a child coming to look for you, buddy. That's pretty scary stuff.
I'm pretty sure that's an episode of BoJack Horseman. But
I stopped watching that show because it's like way too depressing.
It is pretty depressing. Yeah. I just finished it. I loved it.
I'm like, I'm already depressed. I can't. Yeah.
I feel like if you're gonna pick a theme for the episode, it's sometimes your parents are right about things.
Yeah.
Because, like even with my seizure condition too, that first like 6 months of having it, I just resisted acknowledging that I had it.
Yeah.
Where I would just be like, I don't want to take the stupid meds.
Right.
I don't need them. Like I'm sick of being like the special case or whatever.
Well, that's a pretty natural feeling when you think you have something or you might have been diagnosed with something. It's like that denial of like, because that means you have to change your life and you have to pay attention to it. And this is like your identity now is this thing. And even though it's really not, that's got to be how it feels. Yeah, the whole, like, your parents can be right about something. So true, but also, like, what fucking teenager or even, like, young 20-something will just be like, yeah, sure, I'll take your word for it. No fucking way, dude. You have to learn that shit the hard way. Like, my mom hated every single guy that I've ever been with to the point where it was like, well, there's no rules here. You just don't like anybody that's dating me. So I would never listen to her. My current boyfriend is the only person she actually fucking likes. And that's like, and I've been married and she didn't like him either, And I remember her being like, with my ex, like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah.
She's like the Clippy for your relationship.
Yeah, but she's like,
are you sure you want him to stick his dick in you? Yes or no?
No, are you sure you want to get married? Because because also I remember both of them telling me, both her and him, that like he called her because he's an ass kisser to get permission to marry me and also to like get this like heirloom ring that my mom had.
Oh, he's old fashioned and kind of a douche.
No, he just wanted a free ring, and like, and she
file it under the kind of a douche.
He recorded it and I heard it and it was like he asked her if it was okay to marry me and she goes, well, marriage is kind of a big commitment. That's what she said. And then he was like dead silent for a while. And then
how do you answer that if you're the guy?
Yeah. And then they were both dead silent for a while. And then he was like, yeah, I know. And I really love her, blah, blah, blah. Jerk off motion. And then eventually she was like, okay, I mean, yeah, if that's what you guys are going to do. And then I just remember like up until like every single moment, it was just like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Even though in the back of my head, I really wasn't. But like when you're doing that, you don't know. You're like, everybody gets cold feet. People don't know, but I just really knew. And now I learned that, obviously, the hard way.
That whole conversation, the whole ring conversation kind of sounds like arguing over the price of a used car. Where you're just like, are you sure you want to get the undercoating? I mean, it's a big commitment. Okay.
But it's not even just about the ring. It was literally about marrying.
Yeah, but just like, it like if you were to put that conversation with no context as to what that they were talking about marriage, you could make it about basically anything. Yeah, because she was so like whatever about it. Yeah, she did not take him seriously. Yeah, every single boyfriend, she was like, are you fucking serious with this guy? Like, oh my God. Yeah, she's the one that warned me to like make sure I ask one of my exes that went and got both types of herpes in France. Where are all these people going to France and cheating on me? So he's literally been Frenchified?
What is that? Is that a term?
It's an old term for for getting an STD. It's
no,
like a 19th century
that's
term.
gotta be racist, dude.
It is.
Oh.
It is literally racist.
Oh, okay.
Everything in the 19th century was racist.
Yeah.
They're like, we got steam engines and black people are free. Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, I think we have a little bit of time for you to tell me another story because I know you had more than one.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, this is almost the flip side where instead of something happening to me, this is I ruined something.
Oh, I like that too. Ruin something. You deserve it after that other bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. No, this was in college. I had a girlfriend from the beginning of freshman year up midway through senior year.
Damn.
It's 3.5 years, longest relationship I've been in. My mom liked this one. So I know that my mom isn't just like hand waving.
All the more reason you should have listened to her, dude.
Exactly.
My mom's always been hand wavy. Yeah. Anyway.
No, but I'm gonna say her name. Her name was Caitlin because there's a million Caitlins.
Yeah.
And
Gary must have had a very specific name. I gotta know.
It's a little less common. I'll say it after the episode. But Caitlin was she was from Minnesota. She like had an Irish twin where they're like a year younger around the same time.
Oh yeah.
That she was super close with, and just everything was so great for the first 3 years, so like up through junior year, and then as we get into senior year, like the summer before, it starts to get a little tense where now we have to start thinking about what's going to happen after college.
Oh yeah, totally. That's like, was she like expecting you to like propose to her at this point because you guys have been together this whole time?
No. We had that conversation before. Mm-hmm. Like, I can see myself marrying you, but we're in no rush here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's less that I already knew I wanted to be a comedian. I've been doing it since high school. She was okay with that. It was more that I was starting to get too comfortable in the relationship. I was starting to just kind of take her for granted.
Yeah.
So that
typical guy.
Fucking asshole. No, what a douche.
There's the rich guy again.
Yeah. So senior year, she joins a sorority at our college. And I had always been kind of anti-fraternity, anti-sorority.
Yeah, that's why I made.
The
listeners don't know I made a scrunchy face during that. Yeah,
because of every movie ever. And most of the people I had met in classes, like the ones you get paired in group projects with, that are like, "Sorry, man, I can't." The worst ones.
They're in a frat. Yeah,
they're in frats. Yeah. So I didn't have like an outright bad experience with them. It's just little shit.
Yeah.
And she gets put in this sorority, and I don't really take to it well because I felt like it was starting to change her in a way. Like, I wasn't against her having friends. That's not a bad thing.
Oh, but that's what it came out as? Like, it came off like that?
It kind of, it was that, and at the same time, we both worked at the same job on campus, and both got promoted to supervisor.
Oh.
Which
2 supervisors, that sounds like a bad idea.
I mean, we had mostly kept the relationship thing a secret. No one really knew.
No, but I just mean like the fact that there's like, why do you need 2 supervisors? That's like too many cooks in the kitchen.
Well, no, because they're not at the same.
You
rotate supervisors, different shifts.
Clearly, I've never had a job like that.
There was a total of 4. It was a call center. Oh. Where the people who called you after you graduated asking for money.
Oh,
those dickholes.
You piece of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a bad person.
Like, you're in a bunch of debt. Give me some money. Yeah.
Yeah. No, my favorite thing about that job before I became a supervisor was I would do different accents just to entertain myself. I'm like, "Hi, I'm calling from UC Riverside. Would you like to donate?"
Oh my God.
That kind of thing. So we had both gotten promoted, and I know that I had only gotten promoted because she did. And she had put in the good word for me. I had tried 3 separate times to get that position because I hated calling that much. You ever seek a promotion out of spite before? But yeah, we both got it, and then all of a sudden we're in these positions of authority, and there is this girl who takes a liking to me named Carly.
Caitlin, king.
Callback. Remember I mentioned her Carly at the beginning of the episode?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The one you shouted out to. That's your best friend.
Yeah.
Sneaky shit, dude.
Okay, so we both kind of, like, she likes me. I am trying to kind of keep her at arm's length. Caitlin now thinks that I want her, which I don't.
I mean,
I'll get to it. So, Caitlin is now, she's in the sorority. They're going out doing events. Like, when sorority girls get, he's a piece of shit. You should leave him. So she starts to believe.
He's going to be a piece of shit comedian, too.
Yeah. So she starts to believe that. That combined with Carly, like, trying to, make.
So wait, Carly works there, too?
Carly works there, too, as a caller.
Oh, okay.
So, like, that combined with
she's
Carly's,
probably looking up to you as like, my supervisor, he's so cute. Oh.
Vaguely German, but okay. Yeah. So that combined with Carly's crush on me just trying to, like, I'm just trying to survive here. But then Caitlin starts getting more and more distant from me. And I, like, need to talk about it with somebody. And my friends are idiots. Because it's all dudes. They don't.
Yeah.
I miss having female friends. And Caitlin was getting more and more wary of me having female friends. Which, that's kind of baked into my personality. I grew up in a house of women. It's just what comes with the package.
Yeah, but it's like if things are already shaky, then every female will be threatening to you. If they were solid, they wouldn't be so much. Yeah.
She had chased away 2 others, like, in years past. So now Carly, she's thinking, oh, maybe if I, like, make friends with him at first, something will happen.
Yeah.
So now I'm starting to spill my guts to Carly because she's the only woman
that's
around.
So classic.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever done. And I had no idea what an emotional affair was.
Yeah.
And this is 100% an emotional affair.
Yeah, because
it's entirely my fault.
Yeah, and then it's like you guys against her. Yeah. You guys against the girlfriend.
And it's not like I was trying. I wanted to, like, keep the relationship. I loved Caitlin.
Yeah.
And it was just, Carly was the only woman with a sympathetic ear.
And you weren't actually into her like
No.
that. Oh, wow. But that's,
No.
but it's still like you guys are like talking on the phone all night when she's at her little sorority soirees and whatever.
So this turns into a positive feedback loop.
Okay.
Caitlin's friends convince her I'm a piece of shit. Caitlin is, passive aggressive or mad at me. I freak out. I tell Carly about it. Carly gets closer to me. Caitlin sees that, tells her sorority friend. So it's a big circle.
Yeah.
And the wheel is going faster and faster and faster. And about, like, around March of our senior year, Caitlin gets drunk one night and calls me and is like, yeah, we're through, right?
While she's at the party with her big friends.
At the party. And I was like, I knew this was coming a little bit.
Yeah.
By like around Christmas, that's when I realized it was doomed. Unless I did something, which I didn't because I'm dumb. So then the next day, she realizes what happens and is like, wait, no, I didn't mean to. I'm like, I really want it to not be a thing, but how do you can't pull a George Costanza and just be like, I didn't quit. I was here.
Yeah,
I was kidding. It's
you can't like put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the end of that, and I think that, like, the last half of my senior year of college was just me. Anybody I found remotely attractive ever during college, I asked them out because why not? You got 6 months left. Let's make the best of it. And then
my God.
Also, Carly immediately jumped my bones, and I let her because I was depressed.
And
now it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, because now even though you weren't into her, it's like, oh, I knew it this whole time
for her. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So. Also, like, a few months before Carly had quit that job, so it was less awkward.
Yeah.
Caitlin could have done a multitude of things to make my life a living hell. She had the sympathy of everybody in that workplace, and she could have turned them all against me, and she didn't.
That's pretty cool.
She could have, like, attacked me, like, cyberbullied me, that kind of thing. She didn't. She just left me alone. And, like, any other places that we hung out, she didn't, monopolize them, and I try not to monopolize them too.
That's pretty mature.
Yeah, but I let Carly jump my bones, and then we had an FWB thing going on for a little bit.
Oh boy!
And then I
Friends
realized
with benefits for those people that do not know. Yeah,
I realized that it wasn't smart for me to keep that going. So I was like, all right, we got to stop fucking.
Yeah.
Side note, best I've ever had.
Oh, boy. Well, because you're not as invested, maybe. And you were like, maybe all your insecurities and stuff, you were like, oh, I don't care. I could just like go crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have to go back and like have sex with her again and find out.
Maybe don't.
Maybe... larger sample size. No. But no, so like I was like, this isn't fair to you. I'm just using it as a coping mechanism. We're still best friends.
Oh my God.
So
how does that? No, this is going to be a whole other episode now, dude. I'm serious.
You're welcome to. Split me into two. I don't care.
I am serious because it's like, how do you, first of all, think that this is just all first and 10th of all together in one? How do you possibly think somebody that was interested in you and then, you know, you weren't really, but you were really close friends with, you sort of bonded with them, not sexually, but like emotionally in a way that ruined your relationship. And then we're like, oh, fuck it. Let's make it sexual too. Kept it friends with benefits for a while. And then you were like, no, this is, you know, you're not really into her, but she's still into you this whole time. Then you say, no, we're just friends. And you think she's not still into you?
I think that it was more at it, like either she's still pines for me to this day. That's not happening. Or it's like it was more just the curiosity of the whole thing, and maybe she like it was satiated, and then that was it. Because like again, we text like 3+ times a week, even though we don't live in the same town anymore. Like we're
I was gonna say like why aren't you with her? Like if she's around and you guys have good chemistry and you're really good friend and you're best friends, like it seems like it's like. Since we keep referencing Seinfeld, it's like she's your Elaine.
Yeah,
kind of.
That's what that's exactly it. She's my Elaine.
Yeah, so it's like it works out because it's like you know more than I do, but just like historically, that sort of relationship.
It wouldn't have been fair to start a relationship on the ruins of a 3.5-year relationship.
Yeah,
that's not a very good foundation.
Right, but it's also like the geography helps because if like she were here. And you guys still weren't doing that, then I think that can make it a little more complicated. But the fact that you just talk as friends, like you can't have sex with her right now. So that helps. But like literally that situation with her is like what happened to me with the kid that went and picked up a chick from Coral Springs in Paris. Was like, we were best friends. We had sex. We were like, you know, friends with benefits. But he told me he loved me. He like whatever. Like we were like. Basically dating, just never said the words out loud, and then all of a sudden it's like no, you know. So I still annoyingly can't say that he cheated on me because technically we never were together, but we were together for like a year, you know, until this happened. And it's like no fucking way I was best friends with him after that shit happened. Still, like that was like it ruined everything.
Do you remember in history class growing up where they were like, all right, the events of World War I led directly into the events of World War II?
I remember nothing about history, but yes, I trust you.
Okay. So
I'm history.
I'm a huge history dork. So at the end of World War I, they signed the Treaty of Versailles. And I can't remember who it is, but there was a famous quote that says, this isn't a lasting peace, it's a 20-year armistice. So what happened with Caitlin almost certainly directly led to what happened with Gary, because I was chasing like the idea of a relationship or like a 3.5-year long stable relationship, and to an extent I think I'm still chasing that to this day, to the point where I was willing to let all these red flags not just show up but like wake up, you know, hit me in the face.
Yeah. So did she ever really go to fire school over there, or go take care of fires, or was that when she was getting knocked up possibly by somebody else?
The fuck if I know, the fuck if I care.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
But it's good. Like, so you've been single for a while now.
I mean, I've been like just kind of dating around.
Yeah.
I started seeing somebody that I will refer to as a zombie, which is somebody who ghosts you and then comes back. I had to make up a term
every
for
man
it.
in the world, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, zombie. You can use it. Like that, and then recently I started seeing somebody who makes more money than me.
Oh, is that like messing with your ego?
Not even that. It's more I cannot afford to keep dating this person.
Oh.
Like, I make $30,000 a year. She owns a Tesla. So,
oh man, that's fancy.
I have to steer her away from expensive date ideas.
So I'll tell you what, just like your mom will say, something's off about her then, okay? Because how are you going to date a broke ass comedian when you're that rich?
I told her, I'm like, we cannot keep doing stuff if you don't understand that I can't afford to.
Will
do
she
most
pay
of this
for
stuff.
you? Will she offer to pay for you?
She has on the more expensive stuff to her credit.
Man.
So
yeah, but that's still that's a lot of pressure for you, and to hope that nobody's going to throw it in your face later.
I don't care, honestly. I am a pilot fish attaching myself to the belly of a whale, and I'm okay with it.
I like it. So real quick before we have to wrap up, speaking of zombies, since you said that, there's this one dude. Oh my god, and it's like, this person never ghosted. I guess he didn't ghost me, so it doesn't count necessarily as a zombie. I ghosted him.
Okay.
But he kept coming back. And it was like this dude that I met when I lived in New York at some networking event, blah, blah, blah.
I believe that makes him a Ghostbuster?
Yeah. A Ghostbuster, no.
Yeah.
But I met him there, and he was cute and funny and whatever. And I ended up going to his house, and ties to the rich people too. He lived in financial district Manhattan, and he had this fancy ass penthouse with they had saunas and shit in the building. And so I go there with him, and we end up kind of making out a little bit in the sauna naked, and then he tries to have sex, and I'm thinking there's not a condom in sight
in the sauna.
Yeah.
Is it a dry sauna?
No, it's not a sauna. It's like
steam room.
It's kind of it's like a big shower steam room, sex orgy basement. I don't know. It was it wasn't so steamy. We were kind of in between. So there's the sauna.
It was.
There's the steam room, and then there's the shower area, right?
Yeah.
So I end up being no fucking way I'm having sex with this guy. He's willing to have sex without a condom, so I get out of there. And I'm annoyed by him, and because he's always talking about money, and I'm just grossed out by how much he's I'm rich, I have all these cards, blah blah blah. So I'm just I'm not talking to this guy anymore. And I just ignored him and ghosted him. And I had accidentally borrowed sheet music from his brother who had a piano. So then he's we have to meet to get the sheet music. And so I called him music book.
That's the flimsiest fucking excuse.
Yeah, and I was like, I'll mail it to you. This is how much I didn't want to see him, as I mailed it to him. And I swear, I shit you not, every year, with the exception, maybe in the past 2-3 years, he's finally stopped contacting me. But this is when I was 25. So for 8 years, every year this guy would come out of nowhere and fucking try to talk to me, because it was because I didn't hook up with him and then I ghosted him. It was almost he had to.
Wait, so is he the guy that just goes, hey, month later? Hey, month later. Hey,
sending pictures of himself and shit. Yeah, no, crazy.
That's a poltergeist.
It's a poltergeist.
Every once in a while you have unexplained phenomena shit floating or pictures of him showing up.
Oh my god, poltergeist. That fucking poltergeist, dude. Look out for those. All right, we're out of time. Atlas, is there anything you want to promote? So go ahead, tell us your podcast stuff. Tell us anything else. This won't come out this Tuesday. It'll come out the following Tuesday.
Got it. Okay, so I run a podcast in this very network in these hallowed halls that are changing this weekend, called Bad Reading. So the premise is we get a guest who's really into a book, movie, TV show, whatever. And then my co-host Nick Kane and I go find the worst fan fiction for that thing. That we can find, and then read it to the person. The person is encouraged to interrupt with jokes, stories, nitpicks, etc. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, YouTube. It's everywhere. We will have Jess on at some point.
And I get to do Curb Your Enthusiasm, right?
Yes, that was the one she picked.
Because Seinfeld they did on the first one. I was like, son of a bitch!
Yeah, Seinfeld was our very first episode, but we've done everything from Pushing Daisies to The Bachelor to Super Mario to just everything you can think of. And we'll get to everything eventually.
Very exciting, yeah.
Jess will be on, and it will be about Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I'm excited.
And then aside from that, at Atlas Novack on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, and I'll put all the links into the little posts. I don't know if anybody clicks those, but they're always there, guys. You can always refer back. You're no, I don't fucking look at that. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's in the description.
I like to hope that somebody goes, you know what? I am going to follow them.
Yeah, I hope so. Oh, and I'll just say real quick, we have Hardway Pod merch now. I'm wearing the shirt. If you're watching the video, this is actually a sweatshirt, but there's shirts, Go buy that shit. This stuff costs money. How am I supposed to keep doing this? I'm broke, guys.
You and me both.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
No
You're
problem.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for having me. I'll come back in the future.
Yeah. And I'll talk to you guys next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.